Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Relationships. Before we get started, I'd like to go on with a quick introduction about what's going on with the channel. If you already know about this and want to skip it, you can just use the timestamps. Now, as many of you have noticed, I've been doing a lot of live streams lately, and I'm going to continue to do so. Every day, Monday through Friday, for 1 hour, I'm going to be reading live stories. And the reason why I want to do this is because I can get your feedback and engagement right away. You'll be able to comment and have debates with me and everybody else in the community on real time. And you'll be able to do so in 3 different platforms: YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, whichever you like the most. And if you aren't able to join on the live stream will remain up so you can watch it at any other time. And additionally, I'm gonna take those stories, split them up, and upload them later so you can also have them in shorter versions. So to finish up with this introduction, don't forget to follow my channel on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, and on Twitter. And of course, join our Discord community that keeps growing every day and where we have awesome debates and I update you guys on when the videos are coming out. And so after that really long introduction, let's get on with the story for today. This one's from user Throwaway Furious Son. My wife is convinced that I will cheat on her because she's pregnant. Long story short, my father cheated on my mother with my stepmother. My wife, in our 7-year relationship, 4 dating and 3 married, has never met my father, stepmother, half-siblings, step-uncles, or my step-grandfather. My mother convinced my wife she didn't want any of them at the wedding or have any holidays with them the entirety of our relationship. My wife was cheated on in the past, but moved past it, or so I thought. Well, my wife and I recently found out we're having our first child. But my wife is not excited or happy at all because my mother told her that my father cheated on my mother once she got pregnant. Yes, accurate, but it was before either of my parents knew my mother was pregnant with me. My wife is convinced that I'll cheat on her because she's pregnant. Very unlikely, as she's the most amazing woman I've met, and no one can hold a candle to her on looks. My mother just says I'm my father's son, which is really pissing me off. But because my wife hasn't met my father, she says that the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. She does trust me. She says she trusts me, but she cries every time my phone goes off. My stepmother, who I'll call Mama, says to not vilify my mother and be a supporting husband to my wife as I can be. She even bought me some stuff to pamper my wife because she deserves to be loved and pampered like the beautiful woman she is, and how pregnancy is tough on women's bodies. I trusted the woman who was pregnant 3 times, once with twins. So, besides the obvious, how can I get my wife to calm down and enjoy her pregnancy, or convince her that I will not cheat on her? I love my wife, she makes me whole. There will never be anyone but her. Well, OP, the first thing I'd say is your mom's not being cool at all. She didn't say it, but she did imply that you might cheat on your wife because she got pregnant. Because that's what happened to your mom with your dad. It sucks that your mom had to go through that, of course, but it's not right for her to put her insecurities into your wife and ruin her pregnancy. She should be enjoying this part. But instead, she's all worried that you might cheat and cries every time your phone rings. Thanks, Mom. That's the best support you could give. In my opinion, I would think the best that you could do is simply show your wife every day as much love and support as possible, and either tell your mom to stop it with that type of conversation or to not talk at all. Because at this moment, she's not helping, she's doing the opposite of that. But anyways, enough out of me. Let's move on with the community comments to see what kind of advice they have given OP. Your Array Resource says, couples therapy immediately. I can certainly understand why she has this insecurity now, and your mom is really being awful in this situation, but you can and should reassure her as much as you can and understand that her hormones are going to be running wild. But try to get someone in the middle where you can all discuss all of this. And she should consider doing it on her own as well. What your father did isn't a prediction of what you'll do, but talking through it all is the only thing that's going to help. Good luck. One tall boy says, you need to put your foot down with your mother and get into couples counseling with your wife. Your mother sounds like the type who isn't happy unless everyone around her is miserable. Magnetism says, I think you need to have a serious conversation with your mother. Why do you have a relationship with a woman who believes you're going to cheat on your pregnant wife? And who tells said wife so? She clearly has a crap opinion of you. OP's edit. To add, my father and stepmother owned up to what they did to me years ago. They always apologize to my mother whenever they see her because she constantly brings it up. I'm almost 30, but my mother will not stop making jabs at my father about my stepmother. I'll see what I can do about that. Edit 2. Okay, message taken. Separate my wife and mother. Currently looking for therapists and going to break out a couple face masks so my wife will be in a good mood when I talk to her. Maybe give her a massage. But I need to talk to her and cut contact with my mom. Well, it sounds like the community pretty much agrees that the mom is not helping at all and is actually having a negative impact in OP's relationship and also not contributing to his wife's mood during her pregnancy. Additionally to this, they all agree, or most of them agree, that OP needs to go to counseling with his wife. So hopefully something good comes out of that. But I'm not gonna leave you hanging here because this story has 2 more updates and it has a major plot twist. So stick with me and let's continue with the first update. Okay, thank you to everyone who responded to my post. Me and my wife are grateful and hopefully my head is firmly out of my ass. Firstly, my wife has joined an online book club with a lovely group of women who I have met. She's made friends. She's enjoying their book. The majority of them are moms, so they have plenty to talk about. With permission from my boss, I changed my work hours so we could spend more time together and we've been talking a lot. She is much happier and she's been talking to a therapist and me about her insecurities. It's a work in progress, but that is life. And our baby is developing very well due to the reduced maternal stress. Secondly, I now call my stepmother by her first name. I don't call her mama anymore. She wasn't upset at all. My wife has met my grandfather, stepmom's dad, and my uncles, stepmom's brothers. They got along real well, especially since I got a pie to the face and they all laughed at me. Fair, I am under the impression it was my grandfather's idea, but as long as she is happy. Her laughter is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. My mother was told therapy or no contact. I was told she wasn't going because there wasn't a goddamn thing wrong with her. Her husband and daughters, my awesome sisters, are going to keep trying. My mother and wife have been out of contact since. My wife is a little upset, but because of this, she's made new friends that when the world is better, she can meet in person and then can dish on their husbands out of earshot. Kidding. Then, someone in my DMs got into my head about the paternity about my half-siblings, if they really are my fathers or not. So, I talked to my family about genealogy and learning about where our family came from. One of my uncles suggested we just make our own episode of Maury. Stepmother said it would be pretty boring, but whatever if that's what we want to spend our money and time on. Yes, my family is a little weird. So, all us kids took tests. My sisters didn't want me to be left out. I mean, I had the test as a baby, no true surprises. 4 out of 5 kids matched. The one that didn't? Me. The one kid my dad was sure about. Several tests later, they all agree. My dad isn't my biological father. Dad's upset. I'm upset. I haven't told my wife because I don't know how to really say it without sounding like a crazy person. And I still have emotions about the results myself. Me and my twin half-siblings could be triplets. I don't understand. I'm at a loss here. I'm overwhelmed. If anyone has anything for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. I'd love to ask my mother about this fun revelation, but she's not getting anything from me until she goes to therapy. My stepfather and sisters wouldn't know anything about it. So, if anyone has advice, I'm open to hearing it. Wow, OP, I thought your mom kinda sucked before because she was putting that fear of cheating into your wife. But she was also cheating, and not just that, she made your dad believe that you were his kid, which, he loves you now and you love him and all that, but that's just wrong. What a hypocrite. Your mom has severe issues, and the fact that she thinks that there's nothing wrong with her just makes it even worse. If I was in your shoes, OP, I wouldn't wait until she goes to therapy in order to tell her that you know the whole truth. I would tell her and see how she reacts to it. And after that, I would tell her, okay, now we're going back to no contact until you go to therapy, and you're not getting near my wife or my baby anytime soon. Anyways, let's move on to what the community has to say to this twist. ATGF says, wow, your mom has a lot of nerve. I can't believe her. And because of this, 4 out of 5 kids match. The one that didn't, me, the only kid my dad was sure about. It seemed like your dad either knew or suspected your mom was cheating and never said a word. Meanwhile, your mom's been trying to alienate him for years and years. Her hypocrisy astounds me. I would talk to the relationship counselor alone about this so you can determine what to do next. You'll need to tell her, your wife, at some point. This is major and she'll notice that you're off. She'll worry if you're clearly stressed, sad, angry, etc. and you're not communicating with her. You'll also want to talk about whether or not to bring it up to your mom and how. Your therapist won't tell you what to do or what to say, but she will help you reach that conclusion on your own. This is so effed, but I'm glad you and your wife are doing better. You can face this hand in hand. Chunk says, well, I didn't expect that. Do all your siblings know as well? What was the reaction? I think the first step is to reaffirm the relationships you have in your life. Your dad, he is your dad in every way that matters. Your siblings too. You didn't ask for any of this and had no control over any of it, but you still have the same loving family you had before the test. Best of luck with everything and take your time. And OP responds, luckily, my uncle playing the part of Maury pulled me and my dad aside before he read it out loud. It worried the hell out of the rest of my family that was there. But once we told everyone there was an upset, no anger, some tears, back-breaking hugs. My younger sister was the one to question if it was a fluke, so Dad and I did the other tests. Not a fluke, or way too many flukes. I was told my seat at the table isn't going anywhere. If anything, it's going to get a pillow. Shiba Nut Dog says, this makes your mother's comment that you're your father's son a lot weirder. Well, OP, the one thing I am going to say at this point is that your family is awesome. The fact that they weren't angry or anything like that and just embraced you even harder, it's fantastic. The fact that no one focused on how your mom got exposed and they just embraced you and cried with you and hugged you, I think that's the best reaction they could have had. Anyways, if you want to find out how OP's mom reacted when confronted, well then stay with me because that's coming up right now. I wasn't expecting to make a trilogy out of this. I was just expecting some advice to help me with my wife. But thank you to everyone who has been helpful. I shall continue my epic. Before I begin, my dad and I went through with a paternity test through a doctor. No change. And well, I did a genealogy kit and made the results public so I could try to find my father that way. And sadly, nothing yet on that front. My wife has met my whole family. It's amazing. And she's talking about us renewing our vows so they could be there that time. Baby and virus permitting. I do like the idea. And my wife apologized to me about the hurtful things she said and the way she behaved, and even offered to have them paternity test our baby with a promise for the most boring paternity result ever. It est, the baby being mine. I trust my wife, we're a team and I love her. There will never be another person for me. I will take her up on her offer, but it's not because I think it will expose something, and I've told her that. My stepfather reportedly gave my mother my paternity results. He told me she screamed, "That bee!" I believe that is a reference to my stepmother. She claims my stepmother tampered with the results of all the tests us kids took to make my mother look bad because, and I quote, "That skank couldn't close her legs for a cold breeze. She'll F everything that moves." Things were thrown and a lot of other things were screamed about my dad and stepmother. She is indefinitely no contact with me or my wife. Her daughter, my half-sister, has been removed and is living with my stepfather's parents until her paternity results come back. My other sister is my stepsister. She's safe. Oh, and Mama, my loving stepmother, has busted the evil stepmother myth for my darling wife. Their relationship is relatively new, but those two, plus my two sisters, dad's girls, and my other two sisters have teased about starting their own book club while they wait for baby to arrive. Or the world to right itself, whichever comes first. So, I think I'm okay. It's not perfect, not a fairy tale, but maybe an update when my sister's results come in, or if I get a hit on my genes, or I can leave you all in suspense. I can stop using this account and bothering the poor people on this subreddit, but when my son is born, it will be hard not to tell you all about it. Well, OP, first thing I'm gonna say is, I'm glad you're happy, and I'm glad your family and your wife have begun this awesome new relationship, so much so that they want to start their own book club. And that idea about renewing your vows, I think it's great. I think it'll be a great way to welcome your family into your relationship with your wife and your baby coming. And back again to your mom, like I said before, she's got some serious issues. She either just really can't cope with the truth of what she did and is blaming everybody else, or she has deeper issues than that. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if your dad knew all along or had an idea that you weren't his, and that's why he cheated on your mom, because she cheated first. Because the timeline goes, she was pregnant with you and he cheated while she was pregnant. So the first one to break the vows was your mom. In any case, hopefully she'll get the therapy that she needs to get over whatever issues she has, and she can become a part of your life again in a good way and actually be there for your kid as well. Be a grandma, be a mother-in-law to your wife without trying to poison everybody around her. Anyways, let's head down to the community comments and take a look at a few of the comments that OP answered. Thumbelina37 says, yes, keep updating. I'm so invested. I'm wondering, how does your biomom's husband feel about all of this? And Dopey responds, overwhelmed, I believe is a good word for it. He even took a temporary leave from my mother, but he's back in their house and applying pressure on my mother to give therapy a try. Charlie Wars says, has your mother acknowledged her own cheating in any way so far, or just insulted your stepmother? Sorry you're going through all of this, OP. That's exhausting. Also, out of curiosity, why take her up on the paternity test at all then? And OP responds, just insulted my stepmother so far. Nothing truly new actually. I'm taking up the offer because I trust my wife, and if she wants to do it, then I do too. We're in this together. Lil Saku says, why would your half-sister have to be removed but not your stepsister? I'm not too familiar with the terms, but wouldn't the half-sister be her child and be the safest? And Dopey responds, my half-sister was living with them while my stepsister wasn't. She is the child of my stepfather's previous marriage. My stepfather didn't like the idea of my sister living with them while our mom is being volatile. And that is all we know up to this point. So hopefully OP will update us in the future. I will keep my ear to the ground for that. So what do you guys have to say about this whole ride? Let me know in the comment section. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I really hope you liked it. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like, because it really helps this channel out when you do that. And also, I want to encourage you guys to join the community by clicking that subscribe button. And also, don't forget to go to the video description where you'll find the links to all our social media, particularly our Discord server. That community has been growing so much, it is fantastic. So many cool people have joined us in the past few days. A lot of artists that share their art, a lot of people that engage and like to talk about the videos. It's awesome. So here's a huge shout out to everybody that's joined the community and everybody that's shared what they love. And finally, once again, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video, because it really means a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content. So thank you very much. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.